Time is 7:42, taking a live look now from the White House in Washington. The Trump administration is doubling down on efforts to prevent some foreign students from studying in the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the U.S. will begin revoking the visas of some Chinese students, quote, including those with connections to the Chinese Communist Party or studying in critical fields.
China is the second largest country of origin for international students in the U.S., only behind India in the 2023-2024 school year. More than 270,000 international students were from China, making up roughly a quarter of all foreign students here in the country.
Now, Wednesday's announcement comes just a day after Rubio halted the scheduling of new visa interviews for international students. Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes joining us to weigh in on the fight on foreign students. One of the things that stood out to me said, or studying in critical fields. I understand not wanting people with connections to the Chinese Communist Party, but these are very smart minds studying in critical fields. What's the threshold they have to prove? Because they have pretty wide discretion.
There is a wide discretion. All of these things are laid out in the Immigration Nationalization Act, Section 214 specifically. If you wanted to print out and read it, it's about 30 pages. Most of it is laying down the foundation for how you can deny a person's visa. But to your portion about those critical fields, I think that would mainly go to the national security risk. That's the only thing I could think of by stating that. Other than that, I don't know what they were saying in that capacity. But if you're talking about, can they even do this? Because that's the question. Are they able to deny and stop or slow down this process? And then the second question is, should they? So to the first one, are they able to? I think this, out of all of the other things that the Trump administration has done, attempting to do a number of things through executive order, this one falls within the wheelhouse, unlike what happened last week with Harvard, with them attempting to deny them application and telling their foreign students they had to leave. That one is a First Amendment argument. I think Harvard wins that all day. But in this situation, I think this is within the discretion of the federal government. Rubio is able to do this, but there is a process. So ensuring that that process is followed is probably going to be the hardest thing. First of all, they got to give these folks notice. Do you have notice and an opportunity to be heard? Then do you have an opportunity to present evidence contradicting what they're alleging? So you got to first know what the allegations are against you, then have an opportunity to speak towards those allegations. Even after the allegations and say they want to reject your visa, you still have an opportunity to appeal that. So there is this thing also here that we've talked about maybe for the last couple of weeks, due process. Due process is required to go here, even if you want to remove these folks, which may not be in the best interest of this country. At the end of the day, there is a process to do it. So ensuring that that process is followed is, as I mentioned before, is going to be the hardest part.
Khalif, we're hearing some of this process is going to be scanning social media for some of these students, assuming that they're going to use AI tools to scrub social media, just because that's the way we're seeing everything going.
Yeah.
Could this open up, because we just talked about this the other day, could that open up possible anti-discrimination issues when you got AI scrubbing social media? Who determines what raises a red flag and what doesn't?
Well, I mean, again, first of all, they have to lay out the criteria for why these folks are going to be put on this list for revocation, giving them a notice that, hey, you have a visa, you've already qualified. Now I'm going to remove you from that qualification status. So it's a number of things. Health related. Your health came up. Okay, that's an issue. Criminal related. You got charged with a crime. All right, check that box. Public charge. All right, check that box. Other grounds, check that box. But the last one, and it's probably here, is that security concerns, and that's what the national security would be. So looking at their social media, I do think they'll have to say, all right, if I'm liking a social media post from the Communist Party, does that make me a national security threat? And then does it tip into the First Amendment argument? That's going to be a question that a judge is going to have to determine. And then you're going to have to see if, to your question, if a human looked at it and pulled this flag, or did an AI system. I don't think the AI portion would hurt because, again, if the government saw it, if it's on social media, being able to make a determination if this is you, and if that post poses a true national security threat, that's the real argument. Liking a post and posing a threat are two different things. Now, if you're saying you're some type of rogue agent or you're someone that's working on behalf of another country, and that's more to your question about those critical areas, yeah, you're learning things here that may later down the road hurt us as a country. Yeah, you want to get rid of folks like that because you don't want to help and then have to fight that same person you taught for the last 8 years on how to do the very thing that could hurt us eventually. That's the argument. I understand that, but there are some logical gaps between that argument because, as you mentioned before, 16% of our Harvard's class is from foreign countries. These are folks that are at one point are going to be leaders of other countries. And so more from a relationship than a tearing down status, but we shall see.
Well, so what do students who are in the U.S. who might be from China or Hong Kong, what do they need to know about what could be coming down the pike here for them?
The process, they need to make sure they get with an attorney that specializes in immigration so that they can be ready to defend themselves. Have the evidence to say, look, I'm here. I want to support this country. I want to be an actual full-fledged citizen. I'm here studying. I mean, whatever the argument is. And if they present evidence that shows that you're some national security risk, be able to have contradicting evidence to say, no, I'm not. President Trump said a couple things regarding these things. Specifically talking about how there is, we want people to come to this country to have a love for this country. I'm not sure if that's the threshold. I'm not sure if that's the standard. Having a love for this country and being an enemy of this country are two different things. I could love this country and not like and dislike some of the things that this country does. I think the administration is attempting to make that logical step that if you protest, if you dislike some of the things here, that equals that you don't like this country. So to your original question, the Post, what they're looking for, if you're seeing folks that are protesting, I think they're going to have a problem because protesting is American. You're able to do that. But if you're saying you're looking communist posts, things that are against this country, I think that's going to be deep in the weeds before we can figure out what is against the state or not against the state.
Again, our Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes breaking that down for us. Khalif, thank you.